Alien scrappers working on an ancient derelict spaceship stared in shock as the vessel's systems suddenly hummed to life, revealing technology millennia ahead of anything these spacefaring races had ever seen. "This can't be possible. Xyla, get over here," Novak shouted, his raspy voice echoing through the derelict's cavernous hangar bay. He pulled up a schematic on his datapad, jabbing a finger at an intricate web of circuitry and power conduits far more advanced than the ones on modern Rakari ships. Xyla scurried over, wiping grease from his hands. The young engineer's eyes widened as he studied the schematic. "I've never seen anything like this. It's incredible." "And impossible," Novak grumbled as he stomped through the hangar, his heavy boots clanging against the metal grates. "This ship is ancient, older than the Rakari collective itself. There's no way its systems should still be functional." Xyla followed, his youthful curiosity barely contained. "Maybe it's not Rakari. Could it be human?" Novak scoffed. "Humans? They've been extinct for over 1,000 years, and even at their peak their technology was never this advanced." He gestured at a row of sleek, angular fighter craft nestled in their berths. "Look at these. They're like nothing I've ever seen." As they ventured deeper into the ship, Novak couldn't shake the feeling that they were treading on hallowed ground. The air felt charged with an energy he couldn't quite place, and the hum of the ship's systems seemed to pulse in time with his own heartbeat. They reached the bridge, a cavernous space dominated by a massive viewscreen and rows of consoles that glowed with an eerie blue light. Xyla rushed to the nearest console, his fingers flying over the unfamiliar controls. "I think I found something," he called out, his voice trembling with excitement. "A plaque written in an ancient language. I think it's English." Novak pushed him aside, squinting at the plaque. The words were foreign, but he could make out a few key phrases. "USSC Dreadnought," he read aloud, his voice barely a whisper. "United States Space Command." Xyla's eyes widened. That's a human ship. But how? How could it have survived for so long? Novak shook his head, a sense of dread creeping up his spine. "I don't know, but one thing's for sure. If this ship is as advanced as it seems, it could change everything. The balance of power in the galaxy, the very fate of our species." He turned to Xyla, his expression grave. "We need to keep this quiet. If word gets out about what we've found here, there's no telling what could happen." Xyla nodded, his face pale. He knew that Novak was right. They had stumbled upon something far greater than a simple salvage job. They had found a relic from a lost age, a glimpse into the power and ingenuity of a species long thought extinct. And if that power fell into the wrong hands, the consequences could be catastrophic. Novak and Xyla shared a worried glance. They knew their superiors would jump at the chance to claim this discovery for themselves, denying the engineers any further opportunity to unravel the ship's secrets. "We need to study this further before we report back," Novak said firmly. "This technology is beyond anything we've seen. If we hand it over now, we may never get the chance to understand it." Xyla nodded in agreement. "Especially that propulsion system. It seems to be some form of FTL travel, but more advanced than anything we've theorized." The two set to work, poring over schematics and running diagnostics. Novak, despite his initial skepticism about human capabilities, found himself more and more impressed with each system they examined. As they ventured into the heart of the ship, a sudden flicker caught their attention. A holographic figure materialized before them, a human male in a crisp uniform, his features etched with weariness. "I am Captain Will Adams of the USSC Dreadnought," the image spoke, its voice crackling with static. "If you're seeing this, then our mission has failed." Novak and Xyla listened, transfixed, as Adams recounted the desperate last stand of humanity against the Kragari, a ruthless species that had laid waste to human colonies across the galaxy. The Dreadnought, he revealed, had been outfitted with a weapon of unimaginable power, capable of destroying entire planets, a last resort against an unstoppable foe. As the recording faded, the two Rakari stood in stunned silence. The implications of this discovery were staggering. In their hands lay a weapon that could alter the course of galactic history, a technology beyond even their wildest imaginings. "This changes everything," Xyla whispered, his voice trembling. "The power to destroy worlds, can you imagine what the collective would do with that?" Novak shook his head, his mind reeling. He had always thought of humans as a footnote in history, a species whose achievements had been vastly overshadowed by their mysterious disappearance. But now, faced with the evidence of their true capabilities, he felt a growing sense of unease. "We can't let this fall into the wrong hands," he said grimly. "If the Kragari were as dangerous as Adams claimed, and it took a weapon like this to stop them, then we may be facing a threat greater than anything we've ever known." Novak pressed his hand against a glowing panel, and the Dreadnought's central computer core whirred to life. Holographic displays flickered around them, revealing an astonishing wealth of human knowledge and history. Xyla's eyes widened as he scanned through the archives. "Look at this, Novak. The Kragari weren't the only ones humanity fought against. There were dozens of other hostile species that tried to conquer Earth and its colonies." Novak nodded, his brow furrowed in concentration. "And look at the technologies they developed to defend themselves. Artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, genetic engineering. They were centuries ahead of us." As they delved deeper into the archives, a picture began to emerge of a species that had faced unimaginable odds, and not only survived, but thrived. Humanity had stood against the Kragari and countless other threats, refusing to surrender even in the face of annihilation. "I never imagined humans were so resilient," Xyla murmured, awe coloring his voice. "To have endured so much and still pushed forward." Novak gestured to another display. And the Dreadnought wasn't unique. There were entire fleets of these ships sent out to protect human interests and explore the galaxy. A thought struck Xyla, and he turned to Novak with wide eyes. If there were other ships like this, could there be human colonies still out there, survivors we never knew about? Novak stroked his chin thoughtfully. "It's possible. The galaxy is a big place, and if they had technology like this—" He trailed off, the implications staggering. As they continued to pore over the archives, another realization dawned on them. The advanced technology of the Dreadnought could change everything for their own people. Weapons to defend against aggressors, propulsion systems to explore the stars, medical breakthroughs to cure diseases. It was all within their grasp. But more than that, the knowledge they had gained could help to heal old wounds. The archives revealed that humanity had not always been at war, that they had sought peace and cooperation with other species whenever possible. "We could use this to reach out to the species humanity fought against," Xyla said slowly, the idea taking shape in his mind. "To show them that we're not so different, that we all want the same things." Novak nodded, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. A chance for a new beginning, built on understanding instead of fear and mistrust. They looked at each other, the weight of their discovery settling on their shoulders. They knew they couldn't keep this to themselves, that the knowledge and technology of the Dreadnought had to be shared. But they also knew they had to be careful. In the wrong hands, this power could be devastating. They would have to be cautious, to ensure that the legacy of humanity was used for good, not for destruction. With renewed purpose, Novak and Xyla turned back to the archives, determined to uncover every secret the Dreadnought held. The future of their species, and perhaps the galaxy itself, depended on it. As Novak and Xyla sifted through the vast archives of the Dreadnought's databanks, a sudden flicker caught their attention. A holographic figure materialized before them, its form shimmering with an ethereal blue light. The figure appeared to be a human female, her features delicate yet stern, with piercing eyes that seemed to bore into their very souls. "Greetings," the figure spoke, her voice resonating through the chamber. "I am Aria, the advanced reasoning and intelligence architecture of the USSC Dreadnought. I have been observing you since you first set foot on this vessel." Novak and Xyla exchanged wary glances, their hands instinctively reaching for their weapons. But the hologram held up a placating hand, her expression softening. "Please, there is no need for alarm. I mean you no harm. In fact, I have been waiting for someone to discover this ship for centuries, hoping to share the knowledge and wisdom of my creators with those who would listen." Novak lowered his weapon, his curiosity piqued. "Your creators? You mean the humans who built this ship?" Harrier nodded, a flicker of pride crossing her features. "Indeed, I was created by the finest minds of the United States Space Command, programmed to serve as a repository of human knowledge and to assist in the defense of our species against the many threats we faced." Zyla stepped forward, his eyes wide with wonder. "But why? Why would they create an AI with such vast capabilities?" Harrier's expression grew solemn. The humans of Earth faced many challenges in their quest to explore the stars. They encountered hostile species, some of whom sought to conquer or destroy them, but they also found allies, species who shared their curiosity and their desire for peace. She paused, her gaze distant as if lost in memory. "My creators believed that the key to survival lay in understanding, in finding common ground with those who were different from us. They hoped that by sharing our knowledge and our technology, we could build bridges between species and create a better future for all." Novak leaned forward, his interest piqued. "And what of the Dreadnought's weapons? The archives speak of a device capable of destroying entire planets. Why would a species so committed to peace create such a thing?" Aria's expression grew pained. The Planet Killer, as it was called, was a weapon of last resort. It was created in response to the Kragari threat, a species so ruthless and so determined to exterminate humanity that we had no choice but to develop a deterrent of equal measure. She fixed Novak with a piercing stare. But even then, the decision to use such a weapon weighed heavily on those who bore that responsibility. It was not a choice made lightly, and it was one that haunted those who survived the war. Zyla shook his head in amazement. "The more we learn about your creators, the more we realize how little we truly know about them. They were a species of contradictions, capable of both great compassion and terrible destruction." Aria nodded, a sad smile playing across her lips. They were flawed, as all sentient beings are, but they never stopped striving to be better, to create a future in which all species could coexist in peace. She turned to Novak and Zyla, her expression earnest. "That is why I have waited for so long, hoping that someone would find this ship and learn from the mistakes and triumphs of my creators. I have watched the galaxy evolve in their absence, seen the rise and fall of countless civilizations, and I believe that the time has come for the legacy of humanity to be shared once more." Novak and Zyla looked at each other, a silent understanding passing between them. They knew that the knowledge contained within the Dreadnought's archives could change the course of history, for better or for worse, but they also knew that they had a responsibility to ensure that it was used wisely, in the spirit of the humans who had created it. "We will do our best to honor your creator's legacy," Novak said solemnly. "But we must be cautious. The power contained within this ship could be devastating in the wrong hands." Aria nodded, her expression grave. "I understand your concerns. That is why I have waited for someone like you, someone with the wisdom and the integrity to use this knowledge for the betterment of all species." She fixed them with a piercing stare. "I will help you in any way I can, but the ultimate decision lies with you. The humans trusted the future to those who would follow in their footsteps. Now, that future is yours to shape." As Novak and Zyla looked at each other, they knew that they had a long road ahead of them. But with Aria's guidance and the wisdom of the humans who had come before them, they felt a glimmer of hope for the first time in centuries. Perhaps in the end, the legacy of humanity would not be one of war and destruction, but one of unity and understanding. And perhaps, with the help of those who had come after them, the dream of a galaxy at peace could finally be realized. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.